In front of us stands a red building against a bright orange sky. Breaking news from Babylon. The Black Dragon Guild appeared to capture the 40th floor of the tower. They planned to show off the top-level guild skills. A girl with purple hair, followed by a man in a red jacket, was photographed from afar. It's a shame, but they returned empty-handed again. The journalists directed all their attention to the man with long hair and a red jacket. This time, the Black Dragon was forced to experience another fiasco. The shining protagonist of today is a rank 1 hunter. The hunter's ears had yellow metal earrings on them, as did his eyes. Summer Spirit defeated the boss single-handedly again. One of the journalists stood with a microphone in front of the hunter. They greeted each other. Today the hero again set a divine record without any hindrance. The hunter scratched his ear, and then suddenly became embarrassed. He remains the only person who single-handedly defeated the monster boss in the tower that appeared. The hero snatched the microphone from the journalist's hands. He told everyone to stop. The hero held a microphone in his hand and spoke to people. First of all, it's time to change this dog's name. Someone is watching the hunter live. He was angry. Summer Spirit, why did you give me this stupid nickname and constantly call me that? Asked the hero. What kind of summer spirit is this? It would be better to call him a rotten spirit, said the hunter. He felt like a dog. The guy with dark hair looked at the floor. He was jealous. This guy was sitting on the bed, holding his phone, watching the live broadcast with a summer spirit. The hunter shouted that he would definitely catch the one who came up with this nickname for him. He envies this kind of life, in which you can say whatever you want. The guy was watching a news feed where users criticized the hunter. The guy stood behind people whose faces were photos of online accounts. They were discussing the summer spirit who can't hold his tongue, even though the whole world is watching. But this is a legendary level hunter, so I don't care. A guy with dark hair wants to become the same. They were still standing and discussing all this, and the guy with dark hair stood with his head down. The man with the head of a cat did not understand what kind of fan the summer one was in front of him. It would be to protect. In response, he received that a person who has a photograph of a girl instead of a face is only stating facts. He suggested finding at least one person who doesn't know about summer. All television studios are chasing him. The guy who stood behind wants to become the same as the summer spirit. A man with a photograph of the city at night intervened in their discussion. He did not understand how the saint managed to contact such a person. How can a hunter be tolerated? One of them was shocked, and the other confirmed. His friend the hunter said that he saw them hanging out together. The guy with dark hair kept repeating that he wanted to become just like the summer spirit. A girl with a photograph of a flower on her face approached the man with the face of a girl. She said it couldn't be. They are friends with the saint, and she says that is not true. The guy repeated again that he wanted to become just like the summer spirit. He started typing that he wanted to become just like the summer spirit. The guy sat on the floor, staring at the phone and thinking only that he wanted to become the same as the summer spirit. He repeated this and repeated it. Okay, Mr. Summer Spirit, someone said. If only a few words would make everyone interested, the guy thought. They said that the spirit was also very rich. This guy is also jealous, the hunter shouted menacingly into the microphone. He couldn't stand this nickname and said to be called by his first name. A first-rank hunter stood on the corpses of monsters and held a weapon in his hand. If this world were a novel, someone like that would probably be the main character. The guy with dark hair was thinking that he was only fit to be an auxiliary. He wouldn't even make it to the secondary level. Suddenly, the guy stared somewhere. He heard the journalist ask the summer spirit to say a few words for the audience. A bespectacled man who stood in front of other journalists said that in their world, there are dreamers whose spirit inspires them to achieve achievements in the hunting industry. We see many newspapers that talk about the hunter. Mr. Yusuha demonstrated true skill as soon as he entered the tower at the beginning of his 20s. It didn't even take him a month to defeat the monster boss that no one could defeat for 10 years. There are many legends surrounding his personality. Yusuha grabbed his neck. He was asked to share the secret of success with dreamers. Just a few words. The guy with dark hair took the laptop in his hand in shock and listened carefully. The hunter agreed, but explained that he would only say a few words, so he asked to. The journalist held a microphone in front of the hunter's face. Yusuha said that if a person is destined to succeed, then so be it, no matter what. There were beads of sweat on the guy's face. However, even if you achieve success, do not put a spoke in my wheels, Yusuha said. He smiled and said that whoever does this will die. The hunter turned around pathetically, and the journalists looked at him with their mouths open. The hero sat on his knees and looked at the ether. He pondered the words of the summer spirit. But his thoughts were confused by the presenter, who said that they were wrapping up breaking news. The guy abruptly closed the laptop. To the citizens who watched, I didn't have time to listen to the guy. He sat on the bed, looking at the laptop that lay on his feet. Tears flowed from the guy's eyes because he was offended. He was kneeling in front of the wall on which newspapers hung. The guy thought that since the summer spirit was so cool, it could neglect people. Of course, it was not the guys who were neglected, but the reporter. But still. The young man pressed his hands against the wall. There were soda bottles and cans on the floor in the room. And when he walked, others pointed their fingers at him. If he also had such talent, he would not have to huddle in this one-room shack, and he certainly wouldn't be bothered by useless TRF hunters. The guy tore all the newspapers off the wall. He wants to become the same. He was sobbing, and the veins were even visible on his neck. He was very jealous, and also wants to become successful thanks to his talent. The guy was on his knees, leaning against the wall, and the rays of the sun were visible in the window. Or at least, how nice it would be if the skills that the summer spirit possesses were his. Rays of light fall on the wall in the guy's back. He raised his head with tears in his eyes. Some kind of golden card shone brightly before the hero's eyes. He recalled seeing this scene thousands of times, but only in videos. A golden card floated in the air, in the middle of which there was an unusual symbolism. It was a skill card. The hero stood and looked at this map, and a notification appeared above it. It said that the guy had ugly envy, a similar case of which is difficult to find. The guy looked at the next notice in surprise. The tower was shocked by his envy and bestowed the skill. The hero remembered a bunch of different videos with such moments, but he had never seen such a skill being obtained in a video. The guy started to get up from the floor. He's in no position to watch his words right now. There was smoke of light coming from the card, and the guy was reaching for it. He had been looking forward to this moment ever since he got here, and a golden card to boot. The guy held a gold card in his hand. This is a skill above S level. We see a blue notification about the creation of a skill card. A moment later, we are shown a yellow notification describing the guy's skill. The name of the skill is, I want to become like you. His rank is S+. It is automatically triggered upon death at the hands of an enemy, and copies one of the skills of the enemy who killed the owner of this skill. The skill is copied randomly. The main character looked at it all with tears in his eyes. He read that he was copying one of the skills of the enemy who killed him. There were yellow particles near the guy's hands, and tears were dripping from his face. The guy was sitting on the floor, and a yellow screen was hovering above his hands. Just die. There is a big city in front of us. Are there other skills like this? Thought the guy. One day a tower appeared in their world. It could be seen beyond the horizon anywhere in the world. People who had nothing to lose were the first to step into it. Each floor of the tower was full of monsters that came from different worlds, and only a select few were granted the skill by the tower. The summer spirit and other hunters were nearby and were about to start hunting. The people who found out about everything gathered in the tower and began to hunt monsters. The summer spirit fought with a huge snake, and in his hands was a red spear. Have you ever seen a summer spirit hunt at least once in your life? There was a program on TV where they asked a citizen about the summer spirit. He said that the hunter's weapon is a flaming spear. But he does not fight. He seems to dance. He really stands out. It's like the very embodiment of Shiva. A man in an orange apron was holding a remote control. They asked him to include something else, but he didn't understand why, because he was interested. The guy buried his face in the table, and a man stood in front of him. The boss asked the guy if he liked the summer spirit. The guy replied that that was not the point. At that time, they said on TV that he was ranked first and fully corresponded to it. The citizen who is being interviewed has peace of mind because there is not an ounce of destructive deceit in his spirit. At a time like this, they need heroes like these. The guy was lying on the table, resting his cheek on it. He only thought that such a life could exist. But in the meantime, his life was hopelessly bad. The boss raised his hand because he saw drunk people on the street. The guy recalled how he received his skill and saw the inscription, "Just die." The guy was thinking that yesterday he got a skill higher than S level. But it was of no use. You could only die with it. The hero began to cry again. He didn't even report to the Hunters Association. I didn't. The guy hit the table with one hand and wiped his face with the other. The boss looked at him angrily. The hero is ashamed to even talk about this skill, and the boss told him that the guy should go outside to get some air. The hero walked down the street, and a notification about updating the rank of hunters appeared above his head. The hero fell to the ground and held his head. He thought that his head was going to explode. Suddenly the hero turned his gaze to the side. The guy stood around the corner of the house and watched as the summer spirit stood next to the girl. She did not understand what had come over the hunter and asked him to move away. Yusuha smiled and pulled his hand under his jacket. He said that the game was not bad, and anyone would have mistaken the girl for a defenseless person. A girl with white hair stood in fear near the wall of the house. The summer spirit said, "Dear saint, there was poison in that glass of alcohol." The girl, with sweat on her face, looked at the bottle that the hunter was showing her. Yusuha thought that the girl was planning to poison him with basilisk gastric juice. The hunter threw the bottle aside and approached the girl. If it weren't for his skill, disaster would have happened. The bottle of alcohol broke on the ground. The saint told him that this was a misunderstanding. She didn't want any of this. She only planned to capture the tower together with the summer spirit. Yusuha brought his head directly to the girl's face. He told the girl that he thought so too. It just didn't work out somehow. The guy with dark hair was holding his mouth. The girl asked to discuss this misunderstanding. The guy only thought that most likely they were not dating. After all, couples don't talk like that. Yusuha grabbed the girl by the throat. He said that this option suits him. Politeness is always good. But he will set the rules of this conversation. The guy's whole face was covered in sweat, and his hand was still holding his mouth. He thought that it was more like a dialogue between a man who is going to kill and a man who does not want to die. The summer spirit held the girl by the neck. He said that he was the one asking the questions here. The girl can only move her head and answer. Yusuha warned that he has a skill in detecting lies. So I don't advise you to pull the wool over his eyes. If she's honest, maybe she'll even get the antidote. The guy was still standing around the corner and holding his mouth with his hand. The summer spirit asked a question. He wanted to find out who ordered his death. The girl looked at Yusuha in fear and held his hand. The summer spirit asked, "Black Dragon Witch." The hunter takes first place in rank and fully corresponds to it. My soul is calmer from the fact that there is not an ounce of destructive deceit in him. The saint lowered her gaze and then sharply turned her head to the side and closed her eyes. The hunter's hand began to catch fire. He said he knew it. At a time like this, they need heroes like these. There were flames in front of Yusuha, and the hero looked at it. He wished the girl a safe journey. There was fire in the guy's eyes and his whole face was sweaty. There was a fire behind Yusuha. The guy didn't understand how this hunter could be a hero. The guy ran from him, wiping his face. He thought that this hunter was a murderer and a psychopath. He needs to run. The green glass bottle broke near the guy's leg. The guy looked back in fear. At the corner of the house stood Yusuha, behind whom there was still a red flame. The summer spirit smiled and said that he thought he had already dealt with all the rats in the area. There were drops of water on the cheeks of the running guy. The hunter has the look of a killer. The guy ran from the hunter, and a flame appeared in Yusuha's hand. The guy thought that the girl was not the first. How many people had the hunter already killed? Tens, hundreds of people. The guy was very scared and was still running away from Yusuha. Suddenly the guy fell to the ground. He looked at his leg. Most likely he twisted it. A hunter was approaching the guy. The hero was sitting on the ground, resting his hands on it, and Yusuha stood next to him. The guy asked the hunter for mercy. The summer spirit asked him where the guy was in such a hurry. The hunter looked at the hero who was sobbing. He asked the guy if he saw it. The dark-haired boy replied that he saw nothing. Yusuha knelt down next to the guy and asked, "What didn't you see?" The hunter grabbed the hero by the neck and told him that not only was he calling the hunter a summer spirit, but he also claimed that he had not seen anything. Although even Yusuha did not ask for anything specific. The hunter has a hard time believing this. He can't even attribute it to the guy's sick fantasy, but the guy said that he wouldn't tell anyone anything. Yusuha smiled madly. He said, "If the guy doesn't want to follow the saint, then he better answer." Yusuha asked who sent him to him. The hero recalled how he watched a live broadcast with a hunter. He couldn't understand how much he admired this man the most. The summer spirit looked at the guy who was being held by the hunter's hand. The hero asked Yusuha to check it out. He said that the hunter has the skill of recognizing lies, so let him check it. The summer spirit was confused. He said that he deceived the girl. So Yusuha killed the girl without any evidence. The hunter was still holding the guy by the neck, who asked, "Just because you were suspected of something." The summer spirit pushed the guy with dark hair away and told him not to slander other people. The hero's face was covered in sweat, and he was holding his throat. Yusuha explained that he found out about the girl's intentions to kill him. If he had not killed her, then tomorrow she would have poisoned him. But the guy didn't understand why the hunter got it. The summer spirit put a spear on his shoulder and said that he knew everything. He has one method. Yusuha pulled the guy's hair and smiled. Judging by the fact that the hero is ready to pass any lie test, it means that he is definitely out of business. The guy thanked the spirit for believing him. Suddenly, the hero's hair began to catch fire due to the hunter's hand. Unfortunately, the guy still saw too much. Yusuha smiled and his hand was orange. He said that it was time for the hero to die because the hunter would not leave the first place. The hero recalled how, as a little boy, he stood with a ball, and a man sat next to him. The man told the guy, "Kim Kan-ya, your name means young master, therefore the hero must live up to and become an outstanding person." The boy smiled and said that it would be so. The hero doesn't want to die. Kim Kan-ya was lying face down with a notice above him indicating that he had died. The hero did not understand why he should die like this, or rather, why he should live like this. A notification appears indicating that the conditions for using the skill have been met. The guy wished he had a little more time. New notification that a random skill from Yusuha is being copied. Another notification with different cards hovering next to it. It said, "Skill card created." Kim Kan-ya lay and cried, and something illuminated his head. He deserves to live too. The hero saw a notification that he needed to select a skill card. He reached his hand up. If only he had another chance. The guy grabbed the gold card. Just one chance. The selection is complete. Copying a skill. Kim Kan-ya lay with his eyes open. Breaking news from Babylon. There was a laptop on the table on which the live broadcast was taking place. The Black Dragon Guild appeared to capture the 40th floor of the tower. They planned to show off the top-level guild skills. Kim Kan-ya was lying on the bed, and the kitchen was very dirty. It's a shame, but they returned empty-handed again. The guy suddenly jumped out of bed. Beads of sweat appeared on his face. Kim Kan looked at the laptop where the summer spirit was shown. He once again defeated the boss single-handedly. The hero did not understand what was happening. Kim Kan stood in his room with a surprised face. He didn't understand how it happened. There was sweat on the hero's face. He didn't know when he returned home. Social network users discussed the behavior of the summer spirit. Yusuha shouted angrily into the microphone. They called him by his nickname again, and he hated it. The hero was holding his phone in his hands and was scared. He couldn't understand why everyone was saying the same thing as yesterday. Kim Kan-ya recalled an encounter with a hunter. The guy pulled his hand to the side. There were 2 yellow skill cards in front of him, and he was reaching for the left one. The card had an S+ level rank. It is automatically triggered upon death at the hands of an enemy. There was another card in front of Kim Kan-ya, and the hero looked at it in surprise. Is this really a skill he copied when he died? There was a description of the skill on the card. Its name is Reincarnation Wind-Up Clock, and its rank is X. It is automatically applied upon death. After death, it returns you 24 hours ago. Kim Kan-ya was still sitting and looking at this skill. Automatically returns a day back, the hero thought. But memory and skills remain. The guy walked up to the wall where newspapers with a summer spirit hung. This is the secret of the legendary hunter. That is why the saint died. Kim Kan-ya recalled the summer spirit that killed the girl and him and his phrase that he knows everything. The hero clenched his hand angrily into a fist. In fact, a day ago the saint poisoned him, and then the summer spirit finished off the innocent hero. The guy stood near the sink and heard the hunter being asked to share the secret of success with the throwers. He turned around and looked at the summer spirit, who said if a person is destined to succeed, so be it. However, even if someone achieves success, it is better for them not to put a spoke in the hunter's wheels. The hero opened his mouth a little at the phrase of the spirit who was on the air. He said that if anyone interferes, he will die. Kim Kan-ya turned his head to the side and wondered, will they die? The guy began to squeeze the card that was in his hand. He decided to see who would die this time. Suddenly, the hero turned his gaze to the window. Someone was shouting about a fire. The hero raised his hand to the window, and in the distance he saw a strong fire. Kim Kan-ya walked out of the building holding a knife in his hand. People ran past him, hurrying to put out the fire. The guy was walking on the corner of the house with a knife in his hand. The hero lives in a place different from the outside world. This city gathers people who want to become hunters. First floor of the tower. Kim Kan-ya ran through the city and looked at the phone. Is this really the moment? It was 7:30, and people were putting out the fire. About the time the hero hit, the hunter started a fire, while he killed the saint in order to hide the evidence. Hunters with the element of water should not fight at random. Everyone needs to simmer together at the same time. The girl with purple hair stood with her mouth open. This is the head of the Black Dragon Guild. Black Witch. He takes over temporarily, so everyone needs to follow orders. This city had many names. A girl with green hair stood in fear on the street. Healer. Head of the Guild of Healers and Pharmacists. Some call it Babylon, while others simply call it the City of the First Floor. The captain of the city vigilantes also helped in extinguishing the fire. Holy Night. He said it wasn't necessary. This place has been empty for 5 years. Lucky someone called it the City of Exaltation, but the essence was always the same. Once you set foot in this city, you will never be able to leave. Residents of the city watched the fire with Kim Kan-ya. All local residents have long been accustomed to emergency situations. The hero looked to the side. He heard people discussing that the saint had not yet come. She's not the type to be late for something like this. A girl with green hair stood next to a knight who was holding a fire extinguisher. He said that the saint was talking about her business, maybe a date. Lately, he and the summer spirit have become very close. The healer crossed her arms and turned her head to the side. She doesn't like this Yusuha. He just makes her feel sick. Behind the people stood the summer spirit. He held his head and asked to lit the fire without his permission. Kim Kan-ya looked angrily towards the hunter. The summer spirit walked past the knight, and everyone took pictures of him. He thought that everyone was waiting for him. Yusuha smiled and clenched his hand into a fist. They told him that a fire had broken out in the old slums and asked if he could help. The summer spirit asked what he would get in return. Veins were visible on Kim Kan-ya's hand due to the fact that he was holding the knife in his hand. This hunter is looking for profit in a fire that he himself started. The guy walked out of the crowd of people who were holding their phones. The summer spirit was offered public approval, but he replied that he was not interested. To be honest, I don't care about character either. This is a legendary level hunter, so it doesn't matter. Kim Kan-ya remembered someone's words. Yusuha walked away from the villagers and waved to them. He wished them to find other volunteers. The hunter walked and smiled, and the hero looked at him angrily. No one knows. Everyone considers him a hero with a bad character. From the summer spirit there was a shadow of the event on Earth as he strangled the hero. Only Kim Kan-ya knows the true face of this maniac. The guy's eyes became very small. He decided that he must kill the hunter. The guy walked out of the crowd of residents, and everyone looked at him. They couldn't figure out where he was going. The boy in the blue cap tried to stop the hero, but Kim Kan pushed him away. They shouted to the hero that it was dangerous there. For the sake of humanity, for the honor of the hunters, the hunter is only human. The hero walked confidently in his white sneakers with green accents, a man hastily rushing into battle with monsters. The hunter turned his gaze back. They shouted to the hero to wake up. Kim Kan-ya ran with a knife in his hands towards Yusuha. The guy stretched his hand forward and thought that this monster needed to be destroyed. Kim Kan-ya ran into the flames, and all the people looked at him in surprise and shouted that there was a fire there. The hero was not visible in the fire, but he could be heard screaming. He felt incredibly hot. The residents of the city were greatly frightened because of this act. Kim Kan-ya was in pain. He stood in the flames and grabbed his head. Yusuha looked at all this, but the hero understood that he could kill the hunter only this way. A death notification has appeared. Afterwards, we see a notification that the hero has returned 24 hours ago. The hero was lying on the pillow. Breaking news from Babylon. Kim Kan-ya sat on the bed and looked at the floor. He heard that the Black Dragon Guild had appeared to take over the 40th floor of the tower. A notification appeared in front of the hero stating that the hero's rank at the moment is F. The automaticity of the skill is well developed. Now we see another notification that said that the penalty due to the skill was not given. Kim Kan-ya thought so. Level F doesn't even have penalties. The hero cannot now kill the hunter on his own. And even if the guy is lucky, the summer spirit will simply return in time. He also has this skill. The hero sat and turned his head back. Therefore, he, a low-ranking hunter, has only one choice. There was a photograph of Yusuha on the wall. The hunter sat in front of a girl in a red suit. He was asked at what age he awakened his first skill. The summer spirit replied that in the summer, when he was 21 years old. So 11 years have already passed. The girl noticed that, judging by how detailed he remembers it, he has an excellent memory. Yusuha took a sip of his drink. This was not entirely true. It was just his birthday that day. Kim Kan-ya looked at his hand. He calculated that 4,050 days had passed since June 7th, which was 11 years ago. The hero stretched out his hands in front of him. He hit himself sharply in the chest. The guy decided to return to the moment before the awakening of the hunter skill. The guy was fined. The hero lay sweating on the pillow. He went back 24 hours. Kim Kan-ya clenched his fist. He has 4,049 days left. The hero again stretched out his hands in front of him, and he was fined. The guy was sitting on the floor in a blue jacket and meditating. He was fined again. Kim Kan-ya coughed up blood. A notification appeared saying that he had gone back 24 hours. The hero was already lying in a white jacket on the floor. He was not given a skill penalty. Again, a notification that the hero has been fined. The guy took his heart. He held a knife in his hands and thought that there were 2,020 days left. He was fined again. There were newspapers with the face of the summer spirit hanging on the wall. 543 days left. Kim Kan-ya smiled. He has his last day left. The hero pierced his chest. Kim Kan-ya lies on the floor on a white sheet in a star pose. He is wearing a black sweater and black trousers, and in his left hand is a knife with a green handle. Kim Kan-ya looks at the ceiling and looks lost. He listens to the ticking of the clock. The hero hears some sound and suddenly stands up. Now he sits on the floor, leaning on his hands, and his gaze is directed in the direction where the sound came from. Kim Kan-ya sits on a white sheet and looks at the wall. Various newspaper clippings pop up in Kim Kan-ya's memory. There is a knife in his hand. Holding it, he rests his hand on the wall. He thinks that he has returned to the moment when the legend of the summer spirit had not yet begun. Leaning on the wall with his hand, Kim Kan-ya also buried his head against the wall. He laughs sadly. He tries to remember what happened, but his mind is clouded, and he sees only white flashes. He thinks that in addition to the originally planned 4,050 times, he died about 30 more times. This was necessary to cover time. He sits on the floor in the kitchen, leaning his back on an old tattered bedside table, covering his face with his hands, and next to him lies his knife with a green handle. His thought is interrupted by a picture that pops up in his memory. It represents the summer spirit, hunter Yusuha. He smiles evilly, and his eyes sparkle. The summer spirit of the hunter Yusuha is enveloped in flames. Kim Kan-ya holds her knife in front of him. He continues to reflect that this was time spent on the suicides themselves and on resting in between. All this torments so that the world does not hear the fable of this demon. Gentle daylight pours onto the floor and onto Kim Kan-ya's feet. On tiptoe, carefully, he begins to walk. Throwing on a white sweater and grabbing his knife, Kim Kan-ya appears in the doorway and leaves the apartment. A bright, blinding light shines on the hero. His face is serious and thoughtful. He puts a hood on his head and thinks that it's time to find his game. Kim Kan-ya remembers May 6th, 11 years ago. There is a clock hanging on the wall. Their hands show exactly 11 o'clock in the morning. Kim Kan-ya stands in a white sweater in front of a multi-story building. He creeps up to one of the windows and peeks into the apartment. A man is visible there. This man's alarm clock starts playing with wishes of good morning, barely opening his eyes. He sighs heavily, and Kim Kan-ya is slightly visible in the window. This man sits on the bed, looks at his phone and says his head is going to explode. Kim Kan-ya watches him through the window, trying not to give himself away, while the man looks at his phone and scratches the back of his head. They unanimously say that it looks like he had too much yesterday. Kim Kan-ya lived this day 10 more times for the sake of perfect reconnaissance. Through the window, Kim Kan-ya sees this man quickly putting on a red t-shirt and a black raincoat. He is clearly in a hurry to get somewhere. Kim Kan-ya reflects that this person wakes up every time at exactly 9 o'clock in the morning in the F-Rank hunter's office. Grabbing his stick, the man hurries to leave and tells himself that he has to go to work. Kim Kan-ya, walking away from the window, thinks, what a sucky life this man has. The clock indicates 3 p.m. Summer spirit hunter Yusuha catches a slime on the second floor of the tower. With his weapon, he easily deals with the red slime. Cutting it into 2 parts, only splashes fly to the sides. Summer spirit hunter Yusua stands in a small park. His stick is stuck in slime, and in his hand he holds a slippery and unpleasant piece of slime. Summer spirit hunter Yusua is very angry and says that he has been catching only slimes for the 100th day. This is absolutely disgusting. Crushing a piece of slime in his hand, he furiously shouts that he is the Knight of Summer, and Kim Kan-yaw hides behind him and watches him, and has his knife at the ready. When will he begin to live in grand style, like a holy sword? Kim Kan-yaw thinks that at 21 years old, spirit hunter Yusua was an extremely ordinary F-rank hunter, only waiting for a sharp turn in his life. Summer spirit hunter Yusua holds another piece of slime in his hand, looks at it, and furiously shouts that why can't he find a winning lottery ticket or an S-level skill for once? Kim Kan-yaw thinks if everything went as before. Summer spirit hunter Yusua throws a piece of slime into a puddle of red slime, making an unpleasant sound. He's standing next to this puddle of red slime. Kim Kan-yaw continues her thought that very soon everything would be the way the summer spirit hunter Yusua wants it. But suddenly, a red puddle of slime flies into the air and quickly attacks Kim Kan-yaw. But he expected this, and with a lightning-quick movement of his hand, he cuts the stream of slime. Only red splashes flew from it. Kim Kan-yaw looks at the puddle of slime with contempt, and says that now the summer spirit hunter Yusua will not see this. Kim Kan-yaw's hands are covered in red mucus. He grabs his head with these hands. The clock shows 5 hours 31 minutes. Summer spirit hunter Yusua stands in a beautiful room, the walls of which resemble black air bubbles and blue water. Summer spirit hunter Yusua says that he is moving to the 6th floor. There is no prospect of catching slimes alone, so, having become determined, Yusua moves to a top-level area that is not visited by novice hunters. There is a movement to the hunting grounds of the 6th floor. Summer spirit hunter Yusua finds himself in a beautiful light forest. There is a lot of greenery around and the pleasant sun is shining. There won't be another soul here for the next 36 minutes. A man suddenly appears behind him, and his shoes are covered in red spots. He says to the summer spirit hunter, Yusua, "Sorry, Mr. Hunter." Summer spirit hunter Yusua holds his weapon on his shoulders, turns around and looks at Kim Kan-yaw both angrily and questioningly. Kim Kan-yaw looks fearfully at the summer spirit hunter Yusua. All of Kim Kan-yaw's clothes are covered in blood-red slime that drips from his hands. He says that he was attacked by wolves and asks for a potion. Summer spirit hunter Yusua sharply turns his body towards Kim Kan-yaw and angrily shouts that he said, he has already raised all the monsters here. Looking away and spitting saliva, he said that then, you won't be able to hunt here anymore. Kim Kan-yaw, standing in blood-red clothes, continued to ask for the potion. Then, the summer spirit hunter Yusua furiously shouted, "What kind of potion? Now he won't see a day's income." Looking cynically at Kim Kan-yaw, he asks how much he is willing to give for the potion. "Ah," says Kim Kan-yaw, poking Kim Kan-yaw in the chest with his weapon. Summer spirit hunter Yusua once again asks how much he is willing to pay for the potion. Kim Kan-yaw continues to pretend that he is in great pain. Holding a red bottle in his hand, summer spirit hunter Yusua says that his hunt was unsuccessful, and he must give away this expensive potion just like that. So also, for the dude whom he sees for the first time, he says nothing is done for free, holding a bottle of potion right in front of Kim Kan-yaw. Summer spirit hunter Yusua says that at the alchemy market, this potion sells for 20 gold. Kim Kan-yaw interrupts him and quickly says that he is ready to give 20 gold for it. So hurry up. Kim Kan-yaw was about to grab the potion, but the summer spirit hunter Yusua quickly withdrew his hand with the potion and stopped Kim Kan-yaw with his other hand. Summer spirit hunter Yusua says that Kim Kan-yaw doesn't seem to understand. Yusua places her weapon on Kim Kan-yaw's chest and pushes him away. Kim Kan-yaw is very scared. Summer spirit hunter Yusua says that Kim Kan-yaw is about to die, but offers only 20 gold. He asks how much his life is worth. Stuttering, Kim Kan-yaw says that then he is ready to give 40 gold. Leaning over Kim Kan-yaw, the summer spirit hunter Yusua smiles sarcastically and tells him not to take his words into his head. He grabs Kim Kan-yaw by the scruff of the neck and screams in his face to just give him everything he has. Kim Kan-yaw thinks that he knew this would happen. Summer spirit hunter Yusua stands opposite Kim Kan-yaw and looks at him angrily. He says that Kim Kan-yaw has a problem with his hands, so he won't be able to give him anything. Let him not worry. Then the summer spirit hunter Yusua will take the money himself. Kim Kan-yaw thinks that he knew that the summer spirit hunter Yusua was like this. Summer spirit hunter Yusu-ha pushes Kim Kanya away and snatches his blue wallet. Kim Kanya flies to the ground. Summer spirit hunter Yusu-ha says, "Let's see." With an arrogant face, he pours gold coins out of his wallet and counts them. 1, 2, 3. He says, upset, only about 60 gold. He asks why Kim Kanya is so poor. He asks him to carry more money with him. Summer spirit hunter Yusu-ha holds Kim Kanya by the hair. On his knees with horror, Kim Kanya says that this is all his money. Summer spirit hunter Yusu-ha looks at him with contempt and tells Kim Kanya not to be afraid. He will put this money to good use. Kim Kanya remembers a moment from her past life. Summer spirit hunter Yusu-ha smiles sweetly, but dying sparks of flame fly behind him. That is life. Having taken all the money, the summer spirit hunter Yusu-ha releases Kim Kanya. Kim Kanya extends her hand to him and tells him to give him the potion. Then the summer spirit hunter Yusu-ha grabs his weapon and raises his hand in the air. A black ominous aura emanates from him. Summer spirit hunter Yusu-ha shouts what he was thinking. If he saves him, then Kim Kanya can take revenge on him later. Kim Kanya looks at Yusu-ha pleadingly. He is on his knees and reaches out his hand to Yusu-ha. Summer spirit hunter Yusu-ha says that every person wants to live in peace and quiet, and Kim Kanya took a good look at him. Peace, Kim Kanya asks herself. Summer spirit hunter Yusu-ha swings to Kim Kanya, looks at him with a mad look and shouts, "Why doesn't he die here and now?" Okay, Kim Kanya thinks. Summer spirit hunter Yusu-ha is about to deal a fatal blow to Kim Kanya. Kim Kanya is on her knee. A blue glow can be seen from underneath it. Kim Kanya suddenly jumps out of her seat towards the summer spirit of the hunter Yusu-ha. With his knee, he delivers a powerful blow to the groin of the summer spirit hunter Yusu-ha. Kim Kanya is full of determination and rage towards the summer spirit of the hunter Yusu-ha. Kim Kanya thinks that he will provide him with peace and quiet. Summer spirit hunter Yusu-ha grabs his groin with one hand. His legs give way. He can barely stand on the ground from pain. Summer spirit hunter Yusu-ha says, "Damn." Looking at the summer spirit hunter Yusu-hu with a determined look, Kim Kanya deftly takes out his sword from his bosom. Kim Kanya lunges towards Yusu-ha and hits him hard. Summer spirit Yusu-ha's pupils shrink from the sharp pain and her eyes open wide. Blood splatters around him. Kim Kanya stands over the body of the summer spirit Yusu-ha. In his hand is a knife with a green handle. He's covered in blood. Kim Kanya laughs, crying that 1 in 1,000 that a threat to his life will awaken him. Kim Kanya rushes towards the summer spirit Yusu-ha to finish him off. He swings his weapon and shouts that he will definitely send him to the next world. Kim Kanya plunges her knife straight into Yusu-ha's head. There is a pool of blood in front of Kim Kanye's feet. He sighs and says to Yusu-ha that he understands. Kim Kanye stands over Yusu-ha's dead body and says that before killing him, Yusu-ha did something strange. Kim Kanye remembers the moment in her past life when Yusu-ha told him her name. He remembers Yusu-ha's speech, how he says his name is Yusu-ha, and wishes him a safe journey. Kim Kanye looks at Yusu-ha's corpse with hatred and says that during these 4,090 days, he realized that Yusu-ha is a bad person. Stepping on Yusu-ha's weapon, he says that he pretended to be a knight of honor entering into a sacred duel, but in reality he is just a murderer. Kim Kanye remembers Yusu-ha hovering over a frail girl with white hair, shouting at her how dare she. He looked into her eyes with an evil, cold gaze. Next, he vaguely remembers Yusu-ha walking away and laughing evilly. Kim Kanye stands over the corpse and shouts that Yusu-ha is killing innocent people and pretending to be very noble in the process. His words are full of pain and suffering. Leaning in the rays of the sunset, Kim Kanye is silent. Suddenly he feels someone's presence behind him. Turning around, he sees wolves. A pack of wolves surrounded him. Drool flows from their mouths. They are very angry and hungry. Kim Kanye tells them if they want to eat Yusu-ha. Kim Kanye leaves and says he doesn't need him. The wolves might take him. Kim Kanye's face is full of sadness. Behind him, the wolves are tearing Yusu-ha to pieces. Kim Kanye moves towards a small bump. Meanwhile, the sun had almost set below the horizon. Kim Kanye begins to dig up the ground with her bare hands. He digs out a briefcase and flasks there. This is his hiding place. Kim Kanye takes off her sweater, which has turned red with blood. He throws this sweater into the hole he just dug. Kim Kanye puts on a clean black sweater. Having changed his clothes, he prepares to teleport and says to the first floor of the tower. The first floor is moving to the city. Kim Kanye appears from white streams of light. Kim Kanye wanders around the city on the first floor. Suddenly he notices a guard in shining steel armor. He thinks it's a vigilante. Kim Kanye walks past him. He tries to hide his excitement and not meet his gaze. Passing by, he still intersects with the vigilante. But he, yawning, goes on about his business. This makes Kim Kanye feel better. The city is drowning in the golden rays of the setting sun. The guard performs his duty, and Kim Kanye goes on about her business. The city was swallowed up by night. Koi Kanye thinks that no one knows what happened. The sound of a TV can be heard in one of the windows. It hangs on a brick wall with pipes running through it. The screen glows white, but a voice from it says that today the clearing of the 10th floor also failed. Nobody knows what happened. Although Kim Kanye ranks first, he did not participate in the cleanup. Kim Kanye already has an empty mug of beer in her hand. With a loud thud, he places it on the table. Meanwhile, Holy Sword is beginning to be criticized more and more loudly. The terrible legend of summer spirit Yusua has completely disappeared from this world. Kim Kanye is already drunk, but he is in 7th heaven. He shouts, "Boss, more!" Another glass of draft beer. Kim Kanye sits at the bar. There are already 3 empty beer mugs in front of him. The waiter gives him another glass of beer. He says that Kim Kanye drinks a lot today. Looks like the hunt went well today. Kim Kanye says yes, just great, very good. It is said on TV that people ranked 2nd to 7th and ranked teamed up and challenged the 10th floor together. And now some people already believe that ranks are completely unnecessary. Kim Kanye beams with happiness. He holds a mug of fresh, cold beer in his hand and rejoices. Taking sip after sip, he makes a special gesture with his hand and says to open the hunter's skill window. A golden window opens with information about Kim Kanye. His name, rank, and skills. Kim Kanye looks at his skills and says, "Wow, he doesn't even need snacks because just looking at those skills satisfies him." He points to his skills window. Looking at his skills, he starts scratching his chin and says that he has no fighting skills. He believes that this is where human insatiability lies. Closing the skills panel with a backhand, he tells himself that if he wants more, he will become a thief. Just imagine what you can achieve with the skills you already have. He begins to dream about how he buys lottery tickets and wins a huge suitcase of gold. He says that he can win a lottery held in the Merchants Association Guild. He thinks that he can sell for money plans for passing future high floors that no one has explored yet. Ah, he thinks, his life has blossomed no less. Having become completely intoxicated, he says out loud what he would do in the future. As he said these words, the door to the bar opened. At the entrance stood a serious man in a decent suit, a hat, and a beautiful brutal beard. He says, "Milk." Looking from under his hat with a cold gaze at the bartender, he says to add vodka and a little sugar to the warm milk. "If there is honey, it is better to use it instead of sugar," he clarifies. He begins to walk towards the bar, making almost no sound of footsteps with his red sneakers. Kim Kanye drinks a beer, apologizes and says that he is not a bartender. He thinks to himself what an impressive grandfather. In response, the man says that he will pay enough. Kim Kanye is surprised, because behind him, he hears the speeches of visitors who are surprised and do not believe their eyes. "Hey, it looks like it's really him. Why is he here?" Enthusiastic speeches from the bar's visitors can be heard. Kim Kanye is even a little scared. The old man calmly sits down at the table. Some say that he is here at least to raise the morale of the hunters. Then Kim Kanye sees this man on TV. He says that as society becomes more and more in tune, everyone needs to come together. Kim Kanye heard nothing further. He only looked in surprise and fear in the direction of this grandfather. He had a gorgeous, brutal beard, ashen hair, and ice-blue eyes. They were such a cold color that his gaze froze his blood. He was very mysterious. Taking off his hat and pressing it to his chest, the old man waited for his order. "Where is the Holy Sword and what does it do?" We are shown a newspaper with a picture of a man in a hat. The real name of the Holy Sword is Marcus Cullenberry. In the future, he disappeared for a very long time, so after 11 years everyone forgot about him. But he was the only #1 tower until the summer spirit Yusua became famous. A man stood in the room and straightened his tie. During this period, he is the best of the best. Kim Kanye drank a yellow drink. He thought this old man also had an S-level skill. But, unlike the hero, he has normal useful attack skills. We see the hero's skill, rank S+. The hero looked forward and thought, his skill can copy the skill of any hunter who kills the hero. The hero sees the back of this man. You can even copy the skill of the current #1. Marcus Cullenberry and Kim Kanye sat on the chairs that stood on the clock. Plus, to all this, the hero won't die now. The guy was holding his phone in his hand and was thinking about taking a risk. The Holy Sword was sitting at the bar, and the hero was watching him. It was said that he was originally the scion of a respected and wealthy family from Northern Europe. Nobody knows exactly what skill he has, but some have heard that he doesn't regret anything, and he has a habit of talking to himself. Kim Kanye looked at the phone confusedly. He didn't understand how it was possible that there was no worthwhile information about the man at all. He's a real mystery. We see posters depicting the summer spirit. The hero thought that it would be much easier if this nobleman was half as much an attention seeker as the summer spirit. Marcus shouted something, and Kim Kanye flinched. The man told someone not to mumble so loudly. The hero, who had a drop of sweat on his cheek, looked at this man. He was talking to himself, which scared the guy. Marcus looked menacingly into the distance. He asked, "Do you think you understand me?" Kim Kanye turned his head and held the phone in his hand. At the very least, what he was saying to himself turned out to be true. Should all first places in rank be weirdos? Thought the hero. A notification arrived on the guy's phone and he was surprised. It contained topics that should never be touched upon in conversation with the Holy Sword. Marcus looked at the trio of bandits. This is 100% true story. Someone saw what happened with their own eyes. If someone wants to die, they can easily talk about it in front of the Holy Sword. The old man was told that these hunting grounds were used by bandits, so it was better to stick to the rules. A few days ago, in the 9th floor hunting grounds, several high-ranking people had a row with a holy sword. Marcus stood in front of the bandit and wiped his sword with a handkerchief. He replied that this was the first time he had heard about this rule. One of the bandits smiled and pointed his finger in the direction of his grandfather. He said that apparently it was time to change his hearing aid or that the rule did not reach Marcus because he was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. The old man looked ahead angrily. "It's all because of the bandit's phrase," he said. "Judging by the way you treated your family, your grandchildren have long been dead." Before the robber could finish speaking, the holy sword struck. Did he kill a man? The author of the post is from a large guild. He's just slandering out of nowhere, someone thought. The other two bandits looked at it all in fear. Believe it or not, decide for yourself. Someone thought that everyone should know about this, so he wrote. Kim Kanye looked attentively at the phone and read it all. The main thing he read was that under no circumstances should he tell the Holy Sword about his grandchildren. The profile avatar was a gray cat, something that should never be talked about, the hero thought. The old man held a glass of drink in his hand and shouted. He ordered to be silent because he would figure it out himself. Because of someone, Marcus can't even get vodka down his throat. Kim Kanye decided it was worth checking out. The old man put the coins on the table and said that everything was delicious, and he was pleased. Marcus walked out of the building and put on his hat, and the owner stood with a tray and smiled. He said goodbye to the old man. All the people in the establishment turned around. A second later, they all started going about their business, and unanimously said that he had finally come out. Nobody liked this old man, and people thought that they were already rubbish. Kim Kanye smiled and placed the money on the bar counter. He thanked the owner, and in response, he said that the hero could come again. There was a bell hanging above the door. It was dark, and the guy was standing on the street. He goes to look for this number 1. Kim Kanye was near the shops and did not understand where the old man had gone. The guy followed him out almost immediately, so Marcus is not my one to go far. Among the crowd of people was a man in a blue suit and hat. It was he. Kim Kanye followed the old man, who did not suspect anything. He is the only one in Babylon dressed to the nines, so he is very conspicuous. What skill does he have? There was a drop of sweat on the guy's cheek. The spirit had an X-level rebirth skill. What then does the successful sword saint from the previous generation have? This is probably more of a combat skill than rebirth. The guy smiled widely, and this skill will soon become his. The hero wanted to be lucky this time. Someone was standing in their red sneakers on the grass. Must be here somewhere, the hero thought. Suddenly, he jerked his head. Kim Kanye stood near a tree, and in front of him was an old man who was leaning on his sword. He told the young man to come out. The guy looked out from behind the tree and was scared. The holy sword discovered him immediately. They will have no witnesses here. Marcus stood with a serious face. A ray of light fell on Kim Kanye, and the guy held onto a tree with his hand. He apologized to the old man and said that he had a request for Marcus. The holy sword smiled, which frightened the hero. Request, passed the old man. He thought that the hero was deliberately watching the old man so casually. It was like there was a white wall behind the holy sword. He asked Kim Kanye what request he could have for a simple old man. The hero looked in surprise towards the old man, and there was a drop of sweat on his right cheek. Marcus misunderstood the hero, and for some reason thought that he deliberately showed his presence. Kim Kanye stood with his hands clenched into a fist. He doesn't have any real weapons. Marcus holds the sword as if he would attack the guy right now. The hero just followed him for now. The guy's whole face was covered in sweat. He didn't understand why everything was going so well. The old man said that the guy has incredible acting, as befits an assassin on the front line. Kim Kanye turned his head, and his face turned blue. He didn't understand where the old man got all this from. He's only F-class. The hero put his hands on his belt and his mouth was wide open. He was glad that he wouldn't even have to mention his grandchildren in order to die. Kim Kanye apologized to the old man because he doesn't really understand. Marcus's face was outrageous. He was disgusted by what he thought was the hero's game. He said that Kim Kanye's eyes could not deceive him. Kim Kanye extended his hand in front of him. He asked the old man to listen to him because the guy was genuinely curious to know. The eyes of the Sword Saint were not visible due to the fact that they were in the shadows. Kim Kanye asked how he looked like a special class assassin. He's a completely ordinary guy. Marcus took out his sword and saw his reflection in it. He told the hero to shut up. He has different skills. Among them is a skill that allows you to find out how many kills your opponent has made. The hero remembered the picture of someone being chewed by red dogs. Whatever the motivation, murder is murder. He knew what kind of monster the one he killed would grow into, but for the inhabitants of this time, the guy's justification is baseless. Above Kim Kanye was a red number 1, and even higher than that was a skull. Most likely in the eyes of the Holy Sword, the number 1 hangs above the guy's head. The guy replied that he understood everything. The hero raised his hand to his chest and said that he had a good reason for this. This might sound like a cop-out to Marcus. The Sword Saint took off his hat with one hand and held a weapon in the other hand. The old man said he could swear to the heavens. It all disgusts him. Kim Kanye's face was surprised. Marcus waved his sword and said that such a demon, who had taken the lives of so many people, did not dare to touch the sacred. The old man's sword sparkled. He himself lived a far from sinless life, but he would never have committed such a massacre. Kim Kanye put his hands in front of him and said that he had killed only one person in his entire life. Marcus brought the sword to the hero's face, who fell to the ground. He was sure that the guy was lying without a drop of shame or regret. The number of unfortunate people killed by the hero was 4,091. Marcus clearly sees the number 4,091 above the guy's head. Kim Kanye had a picture in his memory when he was holding a dagger in his hand, killing Yusuha one time, and the number of times the guy killed himself to go back in time is 4,090. The guy stood in front of Marcus, whose hat was flying to the ground. He asked the hero, "Did the Black Dragon Witch send you?" Now in the eyes of this old man, the hero is a rare maniac who brutally killed 4,091 people. Kim Kanye turned around and began to run away. The problem now is not copying the skill. The hero ran away from the old man. Marcus asked the guy that he fell silent. Kim Kanye thought that since the Holy Sword had such a skill, the hero's thoughts were interrupted by the old man with the phrase that it doesn't matter anyway. The hero was running away from the old man, who was already jumping and swinging his arm. Marcus will try to kill the hero every time he comes across him. Therefore, Kim Kanye decided that he would do anything to kill the Sword Saint. Demon. Marcus hit Kim. However, Kim managed to dodge Marcus's attack. The man shouted that he expected this from a special class assassin. Kim was shocked and continued to retreat. Suddenly he hit his foot on a stone and began to fall. Kim fell on his back. He lay on the ground exhausted and thought that he was lucky once. At the same time, Marcus was already holding a sword over him. Kim understood that there was no way for him to dodge a second time. Kim had already closed his eyes and accepted his fate, but Marcus suddenly ordered someone to shut up. Marcus started talking to someone. Judging by the conversation, this someone was talking about the fact that Kim needed to be left alive and interrogated. Kim lay on the ground and could not understand what was happening. Marcus asked his interlocutor if he told him that he would deal with Kim himself. Marcus, standing with a sword in his hands over Kim, exclaimed that this someone interferes every time. Kim watched him and thought that Marcus's dialogue was too smooth for it to be just a mental illness, and so Kim decided that it was some kind of skill. He was shocked, because he had an assumption that this was telepathy. Kim had heard that this type of skill existed. Kim was horrified that this meant that Marcus was sharing information about Kim with other people. He was stunned, because he realized that Marcus most likely told them that there was a murderer who had killed 4,091 people. In this case, the Hunters Department will put Kim on the wanted list. He will be targeted by high-level ones, including huge guilds. He decided that it would all end with him being executed on the square of the first floor of the tower. The hero was horrified and thought that this could not be allowed. He decided that he needed to die now and go back 24 hours. He called Marcus an old man. Marcus, meanwhile, said that he had already decided everything and that he could not be influenced by appeasing him. Suddenly, Kim asked if Marcus would convey Kim's greetings to his grandchildren. This shocked Marcus. Kim asked if Marcus was indeed from the noble family of Northern Aprova. The hero spoke about this because the higher the position of the family, the more it attracts bandits. Kim added that there has been a lot of chaotic news going around lately. He said with a mad look that since they are the blood and flesh of the Holy Sword, Then Marcus's grandchildren are definitely wonderful. Marcus immediately swung his sword. Kim suddenly flew up. At the same time he wondered if the moon had always been upside down. However, a moment later he saw his body, which had no head, and understood everything. Kim looked at the moon, and thought that it was very beautiful. At the same time, he was stunned by the skill Marcus had achieved without Kim even having time to notice. While his head was flying, Kim thought that he wanted to be the same. Kim's body began to fall to the ground, while Kim himself began to become jealous of Marcus. Marcus began to walk away, wiping off his sword. Kim reached out to him with his hand and thought that he wanted him to have such a blow, and so Kim died. The system panel said that the skill condition had been reached due to death. He was happy to finally achieve his goal. Kim was about to create a skill card. The hero happily thought that the skills of the first numbers from the two eras would belong to him. The system gave Kim a skill card to choose. He asked where the golden card was. Pressing the button, Kim wished that this time he would have the same luck as with the rotten spirit. However, after a moment, he was no longer so joyful. The hero looked at the skill cards in shock. Kim wondered why there was no gold card here. Kim didn't want to accept it and wondered if it was just a joke. Kim asked if Marcus Cullenberry, who according to legend was the best hunter before the summer spirit, had reached the top through his own efforts without a single S-class skill. Kim fell to his knees and quietly said in a trembling voice that this could not happen. Kim began to get angry and convince himself that there should definitely be a combat skill among the silver cards. Kim noticed 3 bad cards here. He also noticed 4 silver cards. He began to get up from his knees and decided that he did not need brown cards, and therefore the probability was 1 in 4. Kim knew that among the silvers there was an unusual skill that showed the number of kills. At the same time, he decided that he did not want it, but wanted a combat skill. Kim grabbed 1 card and hoped that he would be lucky. He only wanted the Holy Sword's fighting skill, and so the choice was completed. Therefore, the system announced that Kim would return 24 hours ago. Suddenly, Kim woke up on the bed. He immediately looked at his hand. He got out of bed and decided to open the Hunter Skills window, simultaneously asking if he managed to get a combat skill. He looked at the skill window and breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that he had achieved a plus-level skill. After all, it was not a kill count skill. But at the same time, he was upset that it was not a combat skill because he wanted some active skill, like a rare martial art or awakening. But then Kim thought that he had become too demanding, because in any case, this isn't a plus-level skill. Kim extended his hand and ordered the skill card to be revealed. He looked at the name of the skill again, but could not understand what the essence of this skill was just from the name alone. Suddenly, he was disturbed by a noise. The hero looked to the side in shock. Someone turned to Kim, calling him grandfather, and asked him about how many times the teacher told him that if he was not going to practice in the middle of the night, he should go quietly. This red-haired man suggested not to disturb each other. Kim was horrified. This man told Kim that he was always with him anyway, no matter where he moved. He asked if it was necessary to wake him up. Kim didn't understand what he was talking about, and before turning he apologized. Kim asked him who he was. The red-haired man was surprised, and turned around and asked if he could really be seen. Kim replied that he really saw the man. The man then asked if Kim could really hear him. The hero confirmed this, and asked whether it was really not clear from their conversation. The man sat down right in front of Kim, and said in surprise that this was strange, and this couldn't happen. Then the man stood up and asked Kim where they were, and why it was cramped, like a doghouse. Suddenly he surprised Kim with a question about Marcus's location. The hero asked if the red-haired man was talking about the holy sword Marcus Cullenberry. The man, looking out the window, confirmed this, and added that calling such an amateur a holy sword was too much. Then he added that if Kim is talking about the old gentleman, then the man is really talking about him. Kim was shocked, and wondered if the holy sword was really an amateur. The red-haired man looked out the window and exclaimed that he could not see anything further than his palm. Kim read the description of the skill and realized that this man came from another world, which means that he is a ghost. Kim turned to him and asked if by chance this man was the spirit of the rear of the holy sword. The red-haired man turned around and confirmed it. Kim apologized to him and said with horror that he seemed to have copied him. The red-haired man was stunned and immediately began to scream. He asked in fear whether Kim could not return him to his grandfather. The man started shouting that since Kim copied him with his skill, then he should be able to cancel. He didn't want to accept that this skill couldn't be undone. Kim held his head and screamed in horror that he did not dispose of this as he wished. The man climbed onto the ceiling and, sitting on it, began to shout that Marcus's teacher was kidnapped by such an incompetent. The hero was horrified and asked if the man could stop crying upside down because Kim's heart was about to jump out. The man said that this was a disaster, and Marcus was to blame for this because he should not have neglected his dear teacher. He started talking about how many times he told Marcus that teachers should be appreciated in case something like this happened. The hero was still scared and asked to live quietly and peacefully. However, the man exclaimed that he had been dead for a long time. Then Kim calmly said that this man should die quietly and peacefully. The man began to shout at him and say that Kim was cursing the dishonest ghost and again driving him to the next world. Kim was surprised. He thought that this man talks too much and makes a lot of noise. The hero began to understand why Marcus was constantly irritably shutting someone up. Kim covered his face with his hand and said that he was in a position where he had to hide from the holy sword all his life, and out of all his skills, he had this one. The man was surprised that Kim needed to hide from Marcus because, according to him, there is no kinder hunter in the world than this nobleman. However, raising his finger, the man added that this is so only if the conversation does not come about grandchildren. Kim tensely covered his face with his hands and said that he already understood this perfectly well. Suddenly, Kim started talking about how among the skills of the holy sword, there is a skill that shows the number of kills. The man asked if Kim was talking about detective acumen, and then added that it was a useless skill that only told him whether the opponent had killed or not. The hero pointed his finger at himself and said the number 4091. He surprised the man by saying that the number of murders hanging over his head was 4091. The man got angry and asked if Kim was crazy because he was a newbie. The red-haired man said that Kim is the newest of the newbies, and apparently, she doesn't even sense the aura. He asked Kim how a shot like this could kill 4091 people. Kim replied that he didn't kill that much. In fact, he only killed one person who would become a villain in the future. According to Kim, 4090 is the number of times he killed himself. Kim revealed that he was reincarnated to kill a man from the future 11 years later. He also said that he has an ability that copies one of the skills of the opponent who killed him. The moment he killed Kim, Kim copied his rebirth skill. So even if Kim dies, he only goes back a day. The red-haired man was stunned as he listened to Kim talk about how his body had become immortal. Kim said that he wanted to take revenge on him, but he was number one in the rank of their world. Besides, as long as he had the rebirth skill, Kim could not kill him. Therefore, Kim went to a time when his opponent had not yet acquired this skill. The man asked if Kim had gone back in time to take revenge on one person. While Kim sat with his head bowed, the man asked in surprise that Kim had really gone back, having committed suicide so many times to go back 11 years. They sat opposite each other, an awkward silence between them. The red-haired man approached and asked the hero what his name was. The man pointed his finger at Kim and asked him why he chose this grandfather. The red-haired man really couldn't understand why Kim decided to copy Marcus's skill in the first place. The hero immediately replied that Marcus is the number one hunter of this generation. Besides, it is better to immediately collect the skills of strong people, so Kim himself will become stronger much faster. The man closed one eye and said suspiciously that Kim answered his question so honestly. He asked if it was because the skill card said that no one except Kim would notice this man, so no one else would know about it. Kim put his hand on his neck and said that of course it was. Then suddenly the man ordered Kim to stand up. He began to fly around the hero and evaluate him. According to him, Kim is extremely stubborn, and his physique is not that bad, and he also has a desire for self-improvement. The man flew to the side and began to reason, putting his hand to his chin, while Kim stood in disbelief. Suddenly he flew up to Kim and asked him to show how he catches monsters, and after some time they were in the forest. Standing in front of the monsters, Kim asked if it would be enough to catch a couple, to which he received a positive answer. Kim took out a knife and took aim to strike. He swung his knife and hit the slug. However, suddenly this monster soared into the air and rushed to attack the hero. It enveloped Kim's body, but Kim was completely unperturbed. He stabbed and stuck his hand out, and then, by striking with a knife, he was able to defeat the monster. The red-haired man watched this and thought that he had expected this. Looking at Kim, he said that he guessed correctly. Wiping off the mucus, Kim asked him about it. The red-haired man began to talk about how in his past life he was called the King of the Sword. He comes from a completely different world. According to him, a tower appeared there, as here. He climbed floors faster than any of his fellow countrymen. At that moment, Kim thought about the fact that there was a legend that the summer spirit broke through to the 40th floor, and the map said about the 99th floor, which in itself is incredible. The man pointed his finger at himself and said that this is why such things immediately catch the eye of experienced people like him. He talked about the potential of a hunter, which is why he said he wanted to watch Kim hunt. Kim smiled, but he was sad, and said that it meant it was in vain. Kim said he had no potential. However, the ghost called his words nonsense. According to him, Kim has potential, incredible potential. Kim was shocked. He grabbed his neck and asked if the ghost was joking. The ghost immediately replied that he was really joking, and said that Kim had no talent for martial arts. According to him, Kim has inept movements and an unsuitable physique, and besides, the awakening of an aura can only be dreamed of by a hero. However, the ghost said that Kim has another talent that is unique to him. The ghost said that this talent is the complete absence of fear of death. After all, usually people in battle dodge at least a little. But Kim, surprisingly, went ahead to the end. The ghost said that he believed that Kim, having died 4,000 times, had completely erased this fear. Kim was surprised and asked the ghost if something like that was considered talent. The ghost replied that it was so, because not all talents should be innate. According to him, anyone can find their talent in the process of life, and what is most difficult for a person to achieve is to overcome the fear of death. The ghost pointed his finger at the astonished Kim and said that this was incredible. Kim bowed his head and thought that in his entire life, no one had said anything like that to him, not even himself. He began to remember the past and think that he was simply offended that the summer spirit treated him like an insect. The hero was so offended that he, without thinking at all about the past or the future, died more than 4,000 times. Kim looked at his hands and realized that now dying was his talent. The ghost said he would only ask one thing. He then asked what Kim was thinking about when he was killed by Grandfather Marcus. Kim looked away. He said he thought how beautiful it was. The ghost suddenly bared his teeth and grinned, and then he laughed with all his might. He exclaimed joyfully several times that this was very interesting. The ghost suddenly started talking about Kim's copying skill and said that since it was a copying skill and not a stealing skill, then Grandfather Marcus had another ghost as a rear spirit. Then the ghost flew closer to Kim and said that he was very curious who would achieve greater success in hunting, Kim or Marcus. He pointed his finger at himself and said he would help Kim. According to him, he will train Kim so that he will not be inferior to Marcus and will even become much stronger than his grandfather. Kim was very happy to hear this.